5 things I wish I knew growing up and playing guitar. This is IkeGuitar, and this may just revolutionize your playing. When you're a beginning guitar player, it can be really tough to see the forest for the trees. And this video is here to help you guys with kind of understanding kind of where you're at in your journey, where you are in your surroundings, and some really helpful tips that help take you from beginner to intermediate a whole lot faster and overall give you a better breadth of knowledge as you go about playing guitar. So first things first, and this thing's pretty obvious, but if you're a beginning guitar player, nothing's going to help you more than some personalized lessons. Go to your nearest music store and find a great instructor that you love and pay him cash monies to get some lessons from him. You guys will not believe how much growth I had in my guitar skills just by having someone hound me every week about how much I was practicing and keeping me accountable to my guitar-related goals. So, I'm not saying you need to go off the bandwagon and find the most expensive instructor out there, and I'm not saying that YouTube isn't a good option, but YouTube is not a good option. Find yourself a physical body to be mentored by in this instrument because you need someone and their expertise to help guide your path. It's not easy doing it alone. Take an instructor with you. So the second point I want to make is that you as guitar players should totally subscribe to a bona fide trade magazine. Yes, a trade magazine. Now I subscribe to Guitar Player magazine, Premier Guitar, Mix magazine, so on and so forth. But let me just tell you, nothing beats being able to sit down and really digest information through people that know better than you in a magazine, okay? It's generally short. It can keep your attention for about an hour and a half, and it gives you a lot of insight into what the pros are using and into what the pros are doing. And one thing that I've really enjoyed with especially Premier Guitar magazine is they have a section at the end of each magazine about, some kind of tech, okay? So, for example, decoding Jerry Donahue's 5-way Telecaster wiring. Okay, now for many of you guys, this might be a little advanced, but that's a really cool article that you can save and cut out articles and put them in folders or put them in a notebook and then go back to it over time. Back when I was in college, I really wanted to learn how to service amplifiers, specifically Vox AC30 style amps, and so I went and found every article I could in a trade magazine on Vox AC30s and installing tubes and all that jazz and basic tube maintenance, and now I can work on amps in a very limited fashion, but I can work on them, and it's really important to have magazines like this because they expand your breadth of knowledge very, very quickly. The third piece of advice I would give you guys in this guitar world is to stop watching a bunch of YouTube. Yes, I know it's kind of counterproductive because I want you guys to watch my channel and enjoy my channel, but listen to me here. So YouTube as a platform is designed to get you guys to watch and watch and watch. Their sole desire is ad revenue, and they want you to stay on the platform as long as possible. Have you ever decided in your mind, I'm going to go play guitar for a while and find a tutorial on YouTube, but you keep going down rabbit hole after rabbit hole after rabbit hole, and all of a sudden you're 6 videos in and you're like, I've wasted so much time and I haven't even played anything that I really understand yet. YouTube is designed to do that, and they encourage YouTube personalities to make this content that's very clickable, easily digestible. It doesn't give you enough to learn off of, so it just makes you want to jump to the next thing, okay? For example, you want to learn how to sweep pick, you go to some sweep picking tutorial, and you're like, oh crap, I don't even know the basics about raking or whatever I need to do to get there. So you go to the next video and all of a sudden you're deep down that rabbit hole. So stop watching YouTube, find a systematic approach to learning the guitar and work on a specific skill for length of time that is not 5 minutes, okay? Spend longer than you think on a skill and you'll find a lot more benefit out of it than watching a bunch of videos trying to teach you how. So the fourth thing I want to talk about when learning guitar is to get to know your local music scene. Now, not everyone has the ability to drive around and go find local musicians, but let me tell you, you go to your local music store, you ask the clerk for some shows, go to the corkboard on the wall and find some advertisements, or maybe go to a, Italian restaurant and find a jazz player there to listen to. Find ways to get involved in the music scene that's not just going to a store and buying stuff, okay? Really try to find and build a network of musicians that are going to show you and help you and really give you a lot of tips and tricks and as you go down this guitar playing road. Honestly, that's a big regret I had growing up in the DC area. We have a very lively music scene, and I was so introverted and I was so afraid to get out there that all I did was go into my music store, go to my instructor, and just ask for lessons and then leave, okay? I didn't communicate with any session people or any people in my industry until I went off to college. And in my beginning guitar years, I would have sorely loved to have talked to different musicians, in the scene in Virginia and DC where I lived, and it would have been extremely helpful to me. So don't make my mistakes. Go find some local musicians and take them out to coffee and ask them for advice. Tone isn't everything, but you should buy a pedal or two. Now, I'm not saying go and spend all of your money on some pedals, but you should find yourself a nice little Fender amp, go to a music store and just play around and pick up a tube screamer, okay? Go and learn what makes these classic tones classic and try to emulate them. I will tell you, for the first 3 years of my lessons, I never touched a guitar pedal, and that is something I deeply regret. Okay, so I would go into a music store with my acoustic guitar thinking that everything was hunky-dory, and don't get me wrong, acoustic's great, but guitar is so much more than just acoustic guitar, and there are ways of getting great acoustic tone as well. And it essentially, I went to college and I had no idea what a pedal board was, what pedals were good, what weren't good, and nowadays we have a lot more knowledge out there on YouTube to give us an idea. But something that I regret growing up was not being able to experiment with new sounds and try to understand what makes those sounds sound the way they do. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please consider liking and subscribing. Hit the notification bell to be notified when all of my videos get released. I release 3 videos a week all about guitar. And don't forget about my philosophy of tone that I released a couple days ago. It's a really good primer onto what makes tone good or bad. And I'm going to be releasing a new video every week all about a certain tone in music history to hopefully give you guys some great building blocks. So don't miss me there. And of course, hit me up at Instagram if you have any questions, at IkeGuitar. I post more about guitar and more about my life in Instagram. So if you want to know more about me as a person, hit me up at Instagram. We'll love to chat with you. And of course, guys, have a great day. Go pick up your guitar and go play.